What had Mordecai said? Stay away from girls with horns on their heads. Carl, I think I'm being charmed by an NPC with horns. What do I do? Mordecai, it's not a real charm spell because if it was, you wouldn't be asking me about it. Is it happening to Donut too? Donut.
He has an erection, Mordecai. It's very inappropriate. Mongo is appalled.
New achievement! War criminal. You have killed more than 20 non-combatants in a single attack. Question. What's the only thing standing between an innocent child and a happy, fulfilling life? Answer. You! The answer is you! Reward? You've received a gold assholes box.
Really, Carl?
Donut said, looking the Harley-Davidson up and down with distaste.
I didn't realize you'd actually get that thing to work. Are you planning on growing a mullet as well? Are there any waffle houses between here and there? Maybe we can stop and get into a brawl, but only after you bounce a few child support payment checks first.
You know, most bikers were just normal people with normal lives. I never rode a motorcycle, and my dad was a dick, but that doesn't mean all bikers are assholes. You shouldn't stereotype people.
I watched Sons of Anarchy, Carl.
It was a TV show, and I watched it too. There are plenty of normal motorcycle riders.
We obviously were watching two very different shows.
You liked the Goblin Copper Chopper. I don't understand what the difference is.
The Copper Chopper was a custom-made, handcrafted vehicle built especially for us by Rory and Lorelei, and it had a sidecar attachment with a personalized, tailor-made seat. This is a metallic penis extension that comes with a free probation officer and a traumatic brain injury.
You tried to get me to pick this exact motorcycle when it was one of the choices on the prize carousel.
That's quite obviously a lie, Carl. I have no recollection of that whatsoever. I tried to get you to pick the chaps. I think it's sexy,
Samantha said.
Welcome, crawlers! Welcome back to Dungeon Crawler World. This is your host, Lady Balefire, and my wonderful husband and co-host, Lord Balefire. And I am so happy to be back. I know it's been a minute since I've done a book stream, and yeah, I'm feeling better, and I'm very, very happy to be here. And we are the Royal Court of Prince George, who is behind us somewhere. If he makes an appearance, hopefully he won't knock over the webcam. But I'm really excited to be talking to about Dungeon Crawler Carl today. And I was like, just going to say I wasn't like sold on this, but my husband got me to listen to it, and the audiobook is amazing. So I have brought in some of my friends to talk about it. Actually, they kind of threw me into the loop, and they were like generous enough to let me host this edition of Dungeon Crawler Carl discussion, and we're on book 3, and so I'm going to introduce them now. We have Technically Mexican. How are you doing?
I'm exhausted, but I'm ready to go.
You're ready to go. And
Yep.
we have Nathan, Man of Manetheren here. How are you guys doing?
Living the dream.
Living the dream.
Just thank
All
God
right.
I'm not in a dungeon crawler Carl situation myself.
I know, right? Like, I love writing in, like, what would I do in this situation? I didn't freak out. I gotta think of myself, like, let out my inner Princess Donut. So, if you guys haven't read or, like, listened to this, like, what's really interesting with this was, for me, is that, like, as a book, it's weird. I finally got to read some of the text because, Alex here, Will, as you know him too, he was actually he joined the Patreon, and the Patreon, how would you describe the Patreon? Is it pretty good?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's got the entire book 7 on it if you want to read it rather than listen to it.
Yeah, so it's pretty interesting to see the that, like, how he writes and stuff, and he actually does pull the audience kind of like they do in the books, and it's interesting to see. I read some of it. I'm like, this is just not like the audiobook. And this audiobook is a delight. I highly suggest you guys listening to it. It's super fun. The guy that narrates it, Jeff Hayes, is amazing. He does all of the voices. And yeah, so we're on book 3.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of book 3?
I spoke too soon. I loved book 3. I gave book 1 a 10 out of 10, and I gave book 2 a 9 out of 10. But this one was like way better than either of them. but also, like, going back and thinking about book 1, it doesn't deserve to be, retroactively lowered. And so I think this book is an 11 out of 10. And I hate it when people do that too. Like you have to be consistent, but like this this book's fantastic.
Yeah, it is good. This is, I feel like, where we really start getting into the groove with how levels work. What did you think, Nathan?
I absolutely loved this book. I enjoyed the fact that I could now state that the train is. I have read about a train that is better than the one in the Gunslinger series from Stephen King.
Oh,
I absolutely love the choices and the difficult choices that Carl has to make. But how Carl consistently is a character that is, you know what, I'm going to make these choices, consequences be damned, and you know, because they're a lot of times they're the right choices to make, at least in the moment, and he just
He's such a good
it's
character.
awesome. And come on, Manitars.
Mantar.
Come on.
It's half man, half also a man.
I know. I saw.
And no, that doesn't mean it's just a regular human. It means it's
like
a human in the shape of a centaur.
It's weird, but I love it. It is really funny. I hadn't
It's
got
disgusting.
to see, yeah, the art of it, and I didn't get to see the cover until I started doing this, and I was just like, wow, it's crazy. This is weird, but I like it. It kind of reminds me of the juicer from book 1.
Yeah,
The
no,
juicer was
yeah.
fun.
He uses the same voice.
Yeah. Bro!
Yeah.
Like, come on, bro!
Bro! It's a little bit. It's the same voice, but toned down.
Yes,
But he still says like, oh, bro, I thought you were gonna help me down the tracks. You betrayed me, bro.
You betrayed me,
Yeah.
bro. Okay, so I think we need to back up. So the title of this book is the Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook. Is that it, right? I've got it right? Okay.
Yep.
And then this is
Book 3.
Book 3, yes, the Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook, and this is something that Carl gets from a prize wheel, and I had some clips from the book. Now the first 2 were from books. 1
the
and 2.
last clip in your intro. I haven't gotten to that yet. What book is that one from?
That's
That's
book 6.
I actually meant to congratulate you. You have major spoilers in that clip from not just Dungeon Crawler Carl, but also Sons of Anarchy. So, congratulations.
Spoilers.
No, but we've said it multiple times. Like, spoilers for the series do not matter. It does not affect your enjoyment of the books at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've had tons of things spoiled for me, and like Alex ruined one of the best jokes in the book. At least I thought he did, but then I got there, and it was even funnier.
What
like
was
it? You can't ruin jokes. It's Carl looting the production trailer. It's the funniest part of this book.
It is.
And Alex kept bringing it up in previous streams. We did the first stream on my channel. We did the second. Book 2 is on Prophet of the Dragon, Prophet of the Dragon's channel. If you want to watch book 1 and book 2, Alex has been spoiling that moment since I started these books. Oh, it's so great! Just wait till he gets to the trailer and he starts looting the production trailer. I'm like, okay, well that joke's ruined. And then I got to that part. I had to pause the book. I fell off the toilet. Like it was so hysterical. My wife popped in and it was asked if I was having a heart attack. Like I was laughing so hard. You can't spoil this book.
No,
you can't spoil the series. It doesn't matter. You can talk about stuff and it's still just as good when you read it.
Motorcycle. We already know about the copper chopper. I was very excited. I put that in as a search term. This was like the most low effort intro I've ever made, and just as an image search, and it came up with the sidecar. I put with the sidecar, and that was it. And I'm like, that's beautiful. Probably nicer than the goblins, but the Sons of Anarchy thing is fun.
So now I know at some point down the line he gets a motorcycle again.
Well,
And-
you saw the motorcycle. Remember in the prize carousel?
Yeah, I did. I didn't know, but he didn't choose it. He
He
got
didn't choose it.
he got a
No.
book instead. So you ruined that part of the book, and it's not going to matter. It's just that these books are so good.
Yeah. So this is good, and so we're
Instead of the bike, he gets the book. Now we can talk about the book.
Yeah, the book is cool. I love it. You know what I really like is I'm saying if I had to pick a class for myself, I'd probably be like an anarchist witch. And that's not even like a make-believe thing because I literally am. But as somebody that's like, oh yeah, I'm an anarchist, and people are like, look, Antifa, I'm like, no. We don't believe in government or being ruled by people, and we're very pro freedom. And I really like this book because it comes out, especially in the things that people write in there and how Carl acts. So I was really happy on that streak. But the book is very cool. It's basically the anarchist cookbook, like in real life, that shows you how to make like explosive devices and things like that.
It's just another level of his intricate world building too. And then we talked about this before, like he could have just had a regular season of Dungeon Crawler World and it would have made a very interesting series, but instead he decided to make this one different and special and get into the politics behind this dungeon crawl. And that the anarchist cookbook is part of that gives you these glimpses into this vast, really thought out world. None of it seems haphazard. It's all intentional stuff, which is crazy because we know how he writes, which is not very intentionally.
I know, and I'm wondering, I'm like, is that the truth, or did he just say that?
I'm sure the world building is very technical, but he doesn't know 100% where the story's going, right?
Yeah.
He's a grower, not a shower, right?
The required mechanics behind
we're already demonetized. You opened up with the erection joke, okay?
I thought Mom said it's fine. Let's go.
But the mechanics behind what's required with that book, I think, just creates also just another element of, well, how the hell do you sit there and write around this if that's what he writes himself into these holes that the only place he can sit there and read this book is when he's on the shitter.
So just to give you guys like a little background, so this level this is level 3, right?
No, 4.
No, level 4. Yeah, we're 4. Book 3, level 4. It's called the Iron Tangle, and it's the railroad themed level. And so we have all sorts of railroads. We have like an old timer
it's more like a subway.
Yeah, like it's like an underground subway, but
interconnected messy tangle of subway cars
that nobody can figure out. And that's when we start getting more team building with the crawlers and stuff. Really, and we learn how Quam CH is just a piece of shit and I hate him. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he's awful. And he's not even in the book at all. He's mentioned once. He's mentioned one time in this entire book, and you hate him.
Oh yeah.
No, he's twice. Well, you see him on the leaderboard, and then there's
Carl does some internal seething about him.
But you only get one piece of information about the character from this book, that he's derailing trains and level grinding and screwing everyone else over, and you instantly just despise this person who doesn't deserve anything that he has.
No.
Well, I can tell you, stick around one more book, man.
Oh my god. Oh, he's so annoying. But next book, he gets what's coming to him, and I have no complaints about what he gets in the end.
Yeah, you said the same thing about Frank
Q and Maggie
Mai, and that definitely happens in this book, and it was very fun.
Yeah, that was crazy. And so the start, we have like something really important in the beginning is like we get the really cementing of the Katya, Donut, Carl team, and they end up getting like a personal space upgrade from Rob Celestial box that they got from book 2.
The AI loses its shit.
Before that even happens, this book opens up with one of the best sequences from the whole series so far, and I've never cared about the pending adaptation if it happens at all. Right? I'm obviously scared that it might suck, but I've never needed to see it on screen just because the audiobook is so good. But this book opens up with an action scene set to Fergalicious.
Oh yeah,
and now, I really want the adaptation to work. I haven't cared until book 3, just because the audiobook is enough. I don't need to see it on screen anymore, but now I do.
Yeah, I thought that was really funny. All is there, and those,
and it's
like,
a great sequence too.
Yep.
Yeah, it is, and he's fighting stuff on the train, and it's so interesting. I think one of the most interesting things about this is how, like, they have to figure out what's going on, and it's different listening to it because, okay, now I'm involved with, like, figuring out the, like, rules of this world or this level and how magic works and how we're all, like, kind of figuring things out. It's yeah, and so they're like, how are we going to fight people on a moving train? It's a confined space, and then they go to the janitor's thing, and yeah.
Well, his whole thing, and his entire thing up until this point has been trying to cheese bosses and fights with explosives, and not having to do anything. You know, he has his foot powers. His barefoot. He's got his barefoot kink, and he's got his little gauntlet punchy majig. But he's never wanted to. He's only ever used them sparingly, and now he's forced into that meta because you can't. You don't want to use explosives on a train.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Just wait.
Yep.
I mean, he still does, but.
Yeah,
he still uses a lot of explosives in this book. Okay, if you heard me say that and thought, oh no more explosions, no.
Carl does the thing where he correctly identifies that explosions on a train are a bad idea, and then proceeds to do it all the time.
His use of protective shell, though, that's pretty, like, yeah, that's smart.
Yeah.
Oh, when that blew my mind. It was so good. It just rocketed down through the train.
I know. I was thinking about this the whole time, and I'm like, I need to go a lot harder in my D&D games to get smarter with stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well, and there was a moment in this book that specifically reminded me, like, this feels like it came straight out of a D&D game, or you know, like it was almost like the author felt resentful, like, hey, I planned this whole 10-hour campaign, and then you guys found a loophole and kill. Like when later on when Donut gets the hole spell. I guess similar to a portable hole in D&D.
Yeah.
They use it to cut a hole in the train and pull the mage's head through the hole, and then chop off his head, just completely bypassing the entire nightmare train scenario, which sounded really fun. I was really looking forward to him fighting through the nightmare train, and he solves it in 2 minutes. Like, I know that happened in his D&D game, and he's still pissed about it. But it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yep. When he does that, and then the hole closes, his head pops up. What's that, bitch? Like,
that's when they hijack the train, right?
Yep.
Yep. And then here's the other thing that I really love in this book is when they hijack the train and they meet the conductor or, like, engineer of the train. I guess it should be the engineer. It's Firebrandy, and then he starts having this really, which is so funny because if you guys,
you skipped an important note here.
Oh, what?
The engineer is the critical drinker.
Oh, yes.
That was on a different train before the nightmare train, right?
It was like that's the first train, isn't it?
Yeah, it might have been the first or second train.
Yeah, that's funny, and that happened.
Yeah, there's a fun cameo with the critical drinker. It was very short, but it was fun.
does his like Scottish drawl very well, and it's great. I liked hearing him. It's cool to have like guests on it. There's some other guests like in book 6 that are really awesome. Like you have something to look forward to there. But yeah. So when they meet Firebrandy and he starts talking to the NPCs more, and in his book, Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook book, he starts like finding some essays by one of the former crawlers on NPCs, and he starts talking to her, and they're talking
dark.
Yeah, it's like, let's start red pilling the NPCs.
It's really dark stuff.
I thought that was interesting.
Oh,
What did you guys think
how
of that?
the trains get stoked is just it's horrid.
She gives birth. Horrid. Is it every 2 minutes she gives birth, or every 5 minutes?
Yeah, every 5 minutes or something.
Every 5 minutes she gives birth to like a flame baby or a coal baby and sacrifices it to the train.
Yep.
Yeah, it's so sad because she talks about things that, like, you know, like she has a family and stuff, and we meet some other NPCs, like this horrible, like, HR woman. What was her name? Like Madison. Oh my God, she's nasty. Like, you know, she's right up there with Crack Karen, but
awful.
Like, she goes on about like, okay, I have a family, like I live on this thing, and blah 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 blah, and then Carl's like, no, you don't. It's all made up. And I think one of the sad things about this book is that Carl realizes that these NPCs are actually like living people from the planets before that have been recycled, and that they just keep recycling these people, and they're like brainwashing them every new floor that they're on, and they're just stuck in this perpetual cycle. And it's a really like meta storyline, because he comes up and he's like waking them up, and it really plays out when we get to what was his name?
Growler
Gary. And that is like this sort of the apotheosis and what happens to Firebrandy, but we'll kind of get there in the discussion.
Growler Gary is the
Bob, isn't it Bobcat, right?
He's a gnome controller.
He's the gnome guy. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It was so funny.
That's so funny. Fucked up. But I think even
the only reason it worked, it was hilarious when they did it the first 3 times, and then it was just like depressing. But he saves it by with the twist of him when they explain to him why they're chopping off his arms,
and explaining to them,
and he's like, if that's why, keep going. And
it's like they tell him the reality of the dungeon, and once they realize what's going on, and that by sacrificing his life every time, that he could help them end this absolute horror show. He's like all for it, and that's so great, because he wakes up other NPCs, so like Firebrandy and stuff. They're like, yeah, we would rather die and be free than be stuck in this endless slavery. That's like that's a really big theme that runs through a lot of the books.
The series,
yeah, the whole series, and I really
just trying to tear the whole system down.
Yep, fight the power, man.
Yeah, but I believe you were trying to bring up before that, like the essay about the ethics of waking up these characters. Like, is it better for them to know, or should they be kept in ignorance? It's also like,
it's like the nature of NPCs. And it goes on. It's very Plato's Cave.
I gotta say, these former Anarchist Cookbook holders are great characters. Like they're really fleshed out. And yes, Gadfly, Plato's Cave. I am pitching you this book personally. I really, really, really want to read your analysis of Carl as the classical hero. A modern retelling of the classical hero.
And also Dante's Inferno.
Yes. So I guess, do we want to just go character by character?
What do you guys think? I know we've been kind of everywhere.
Let's go character by character, and let's start with my favorite character from this book, the little mole man, Limp Richard.
Limp Richard, yes.
His name is Limp Dick. Okay, it's
Yeah, he's like,
and they never say it. They always call him Limp Richard, but the joke is still there, and it's perfect.
Does it like donut like kind of come upon the joke?
No,
no.
I don't remember. Maybe I glossed over it, but he never even acknowledges that it's a joke.
Yeah,
I think what's even funnier about it is he and Limp Richard are trading books. He's got his Louis L'Amour westerns.
Oh, I loved that. That's so cool.
And he gets him addicted to them on purpose so that he can trade. He gives him a bunch for free because he knows he's gonna eat them up, and then he can charge him more for the next set.
And Limp Richard is reading, and I forget the name of the book, but I looked it up. It is a sci-fi book about robots and artificial intelligence gaining free will and breaking free of their programming. So it is a meta commentary about the level using literature that is taking place between he and a mole man named Limp Richard. Like, it is the highest of highbrow and the lowest of lowbrow.
Like, that is my style. If you guys know me well enough for that. Yeah, so it's fun. I really like that, and it's like little tidbits like that where there's like they're talking about like the books that he reads, and it's interesting too because they use little things like that to sort of give us snippets of the backstory, and it's like he's talking about reading and the stuff he liked before, and then it's really funny because it's like I don't even know if he gets something from Limp Richard, but he doesn't. For trading books. But it's like implied, and we don't know about it till later.
Yep.
Like I don't remember. Is that in book 4 or 5?
I
think it's got to be in 5 because I haven't seen Limp Richard since.
Okay, no, you don't see Limp Richard, but there was something that Limp Richard had, and he thinks about getting it, but it's really expensive. And
oh yeah, that was in book 4.
Was it?
He doesn't pull the trigger on it.
We're not gonna go for
the art contest, which
no, that's
right.
not.
That doesn't ring a bell for me. I haven't heard.
No, it's not the art. It's not there yet. But
you and I are talking about two different things because he definitely gets something from Limp Richard that correlates to the art contest. But okay,
happens every stream. Alex just goes off on stuff that hasn't happened yet.
I know.
Guilty. I'm so guilty of this.
It's hard. It's hard, man. I feel you.
This is like what happened when I binge read The Wheel of Time, and I just read book after book, and I'm like, I don't remember if this happened.
Well, in the middle one squished together, and then there's two that happen at the same time. So you're like, oops, I accidentally spoiled something.
Yeah, I'm trying to, but Mordecai. Should we go to the Mordecai thing?
Okay.
Yeah,
Mordecai's not even in the book.
Nathan, what are your thoughts on Mordecai? You haven't talked very much.
Mordecai is the absolute best. I mean, just at least how he's portrayed by Lee Hayes is so phenomenal, and how Lee Hayes sits there and will talk in the middle of every sentence.
Oh, and you can tell it's the same accent, but he made the accent sound like a frog. I don't know how he did it. It's perfect.
Just wait till book 5.
Yeah,
and now he pulls that accent off.
Yeah.
It is.
Dude,
it is unreal.
The first scene with him, I think it's with Limp Richard as well. They haggle for their. They're doing the haggling to get their personal spaces. And then they go in and rearrange it and come out, and the guy's so grateful. That she's made him a whole bunch of food, and they're like, oh, great. And then she hands Mordecai like a plate of flies. And he's like, thank you.
Yeah. Well, and then Mordecai loses his absolute shit.
Yeah.
On the prize.
And then all of a sudden, he's gone, and you're just kind of like, well, I like Mordecai being in each of the books, and he's gone, and they can't.
They don't have
to. The big
it worked
crush
so well.
that Carl's had is gone.
It worked really well because he's definitely my favorite character. I love when Mordecai's in, and I love that he's they got him to be the manager, so there's an excuse for him to continue on through the story. And I was really looking forward to him being in this book, especially as a frog, because he's the best. And then he's immediately yoinked out of the story for 7 days, which is the entire level.
Yeah, pretty much.
But it's not disappointing. You're like, oh, like it was such a smart and funny decision that you can't be mad at it, and it serves this story very, very well. Like the whole point of this story is it's a puzzle, or this level is a puzzle that has to be solved, and he had already solved it before he got yoinked away, right? He figured out what the trick was, and it would have ruined the story. So it was such a smart decision that you don't want to happen, but it's, you know, he manages to subvert your expectations without disappointing you, like most people do when they try to subvert your expectations.
And speaking of like masterfully done stuff, I really like this book because we start seeing the growth of the characters. So they lose their coach in Mordecai, so they don't have him as a crutch, but we see the growth, the characters grow in other ways. Like there's like, I really like what happens to Katya in this book. It's so refreshing too, because so many authors, it's like they have to use the lawnmower theory to make their characters look good. So they make their character look good by like cutting down everyone else. And in this story, like everyone really helps each other grow. And
is that the lawnmower theory or the feminism theory?
No, it's the lawnmower theory. It's like you have to cut down all the grass around you so you're the tallest stalk left.
Got it.
Or that's how I've heard it, but feminism's kind of the same way.
Well,
I was making a joke. I wasn't being serious. You took my jokes too seriously.
Oh my goodness!
How it forces Carl to band everybody together in this and creates an absolute conglomerate of crawler groups that are in communication with each other is absolutely fantastic.
And he has the excuse to completely ignore Mordecai and try and save everyone because Mordecai's out of the picture and can't tell him not to.
Yeah, well, and except for the one line, you can't save everybody. And
he always thinks about that, and I love how he thinks about it like every time. I'm gonna try to come up with like, I should find it on my computer. We found like the perfect meme for this. I'm gonna try to find it, but yeah, it's great because it's like. It is interesting because every level in this is like something where they have to work together, and that's part of the did I save this? Okay. I found it. Here we go. Let me open it up. See if it'll come up. Come on.
Well,
okay. I think it's really wild to read a complete character arc that happens in 100 pages.
Yeah.
Like, that is great.
Yeah, so this is our meme, like Katya pointing the iron table. Like, it's really awesome. I love it because it's so great. They use story like the plot to give
but you're missing something. Okay, but it doesn't matter. No, but we're missing something.
We're missing something. This line
great.
Is so
okay.
Like, and it's great. And then we learn about Katya, what she used to be. She was an art professor, and that's something she's really good at. And so they're like, yeah, you do this map. And that's really cool.
I like the bit of characterization that every person in the world who's great at art, when you say, oh my God, you're great at art, they go, no, I'm terrible at art. Like, Katya doing that, it's just like, perfect. Matt, you know people so well.
But the way that conversation happens, though, is she reveals that she was an art teacher, and he looks at her face, and it's falling apart. And he's like,
you look like
you were an art teacher? It's like, well, you know, when you can't do, you teach.
Yeah, that
was. She is okay. I already said Mordecai is the best character. Mordecai's the best character, but Katya is actually the best character. So
Katya is my favorite glow up in this series. Like, honestly, she's awesome.
She goes so hard in this book. Aldan, who's supposed to stream with us, but he's in church right now, kept asking, "What's my favorite part of the book?" And I did. There were so many cool parts of this book, I couldn't answer his question. And then Katya does the thing.
We can talk about the thing. We've all read the thing.
We've all read it.
Okay, if we're ready for it.
You guys can do it because go for
Katya friggin' just one-shots Hekla.
So give us the backstory.
Just that absolute the best part of the book.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the backstory is that they've gone on Audette's show, and you know what, this is interesting. Did this happen in book 2 when like Audette starts like kind of
so
daughters on?
There's 2 parts of this. There is
I missed this because I've only listened to it
level revelation that is Katya wants Donut on her team because Donut is a powerful crawler. So
not Katya, but
I'm sorry, Hekla.
Hekla, yeah.
Hekla, yeah.
So
Donut, yeah.
Hekla sets
So she's trying to get Carl out of the picture.
Yeah, so she wants to knock off Carl. Yep. So she sets up the plan
so much that she's willing to betray Katya to get it done.
Oh yeah.
Yes. And so she is setting it up where she wants Katya to die, to make Carl attack her group.
Well, it's because she wants to get
self-defense.
It's because she wants to get Carl out of the picture without her looking like the bad guy.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So she's secretly trying to off Katya so that Carl goes nuts because she watches the replays and thinks that he's nuts. He kind of is, right? But they always play up on the replays the psychotic nature of these players. Like, I'm sure once we finally meet the dog lady, she's not gonna Lucia Marr. She might be as psychotic.
She might be. We don't know.
Okay, so she's the one exception, but it's like if you're coming from her perspective, it was a really smart plan, but she just didn't know. Just didn't know that Carl was a good guy.
Yeah, but this was something, and I missed this. But Will told me when retrospect when we're listening to it that it's this was a plan that was suggested by Audette to Hekla when they were on Audette's show.
Oh.
Like way in the beginning, was that book 1?
No, she's that's the one who warns Carl.
Oh, she does warn
that Hekla wants to steal the kitty.
Yep. So, the way it works is
that would make him suspicious of, so that would make him more likely to go into a rage, right?
Yeah. Audette wants Donut to be successful for reasons we can't talk about yet. And Audette thinks that Donut will be more successful with Hekla than with Carl.
Got it.
So she basically hints to Hekla that she should do this. She also warns Carl that Hekla is going to betray them so that Carl will be ready to snap at a moment's notice. Yeah.
It's
a crafty plan.
Yeah, and so there's
Game of Thrones shit.
Yes, there's legitimately Game of Thrones shit.
Yeah, Odette is a fucking serious bitch.
Yes.
and you don't know the half of it yet.
Oh yeah, we're not even into the backstory, but we get hints. Do we get a little bit of hints of it when we're like, what happened with Mordecai and
Chaco?
Chaco.
It is kind of a shame that I think there will be a lot of people who just immediately dismiss these books because because of the way they're advertised, which is the way they should be advertised. Because I can't think of a better way to advertise them, because they are ridiculously silly adventure books. But they're so much more deep than that. But like you're literally getting the picture that's on the cover. You can judge these books by their covers. But at the same time, it's Game of Thrones level writing. But it's also a guy running around in his underpants. Like
Yeah.
First three seasons, yes.
I've never read anything like this before. I don't know how he balances that so well.
It's almost
It's
like
impressive.
it's not quite black comedy. It's not that dark, but
No,
like,
it's not a black
like,
comedy.
No,
Yeah.
but like I was thinking of what black comedy does is it's like they take something that's so absurd and they use humor to make it okay to talk about it. And I think
Yeah.
that's what this book does. Like there's some like this book is when we start getting into the heavy themes.
It's a dark comedy.
Yeah, it's like, but the comedy is what allows him to talk about things that if you were just writing like a high fantasy story or something like that, it would just be like, okay, this has been done by better people or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's what I think the real unique thing of this book is.
There's
It's
one
amazing.
of my professors in college had a quote on his door that said, "I much prefer to associate with people who have an incredibly unique vocabulary, but who also choose to use the word fuck a lot." Like, if I had to describe this book, it would be like, you know,
That would be your favorite quote. Okay.
you know me.
I do.
But I feel like it very much portrays this book. This is a very intelligent book
Yeah.
that has a tremendous amount of fun being goofy.
Oh god, yeah.
And
Like
yet it's
the
also
AI
heartfelt and deep and complicated.
Yeah, so speaking of the dark parts, you guys want to talk about what happens to Frank Q?
Frank, yeah, that's a good segue.
Yep.
The dark story. Like when you get the whole story of Frank Q and Maggie Mai and the daughter of
That's important.
Oh, I still don't feel bad for Frank, but
No.
Oh
Yeah.
no, he's like an asshole. But I think like I don't know if this was a spoiler too. Did they find out about like this? Does Frank tell them why they were killing other crawlers?
yeah,
Okay, yeah. So he's like the
because
manager.
of the ring.
does? Well, the ring.
Did
No.
they talk about the manager?
Yeah, because the
Yeah.
manager
Yeah.
tells them they have to kill other
Yeah.
crawlers, and then I'm like, oh shit, because that same manager is the manager for Team Metal. Like,
Yeah,
that's like, I'm just like, they're gonna be something crazy. Like, there's so much going on with the managers and the story of them being former crawlers. That I'm like, I feel like that's it. That's a shoe that's winning it out.
well, Metallark
Yeah.
has already said they hate their manager, or
Yes.
True.
they hate her.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a girl, right?
Yeah, I
Yes.
don't remember what her name was.
Mistress
They've said
Tiafa.
she's completely useless. She doesn't give us anything good, and it's a
Yeah.
bunch of old people. Like they're not willing to.
Well,
to
this
kill.
This is another thing that this book does extremely well. It's the Magikarp theory. In Pokemon, it's very difficult to raise Magikarp up to the point that it evolves, but when it does, you get Gyarados.
Yeah,
So Carl has been limping along, dragging these old people around, and they're functionally useless. But
and then they pop up on the top 10.
yes, and this is the book. This is the book where they evolve into
They're like
Gyarados and
Ellie.
become very powerful.
You know, I really like that. You know, there's some things like I can't think of any times when they even would address like what would happen to these kind of people in the post-apocalypse. Like I think in that
Yeah,
that sequel to The Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead, like they run upon like some bunch of cholos protecting their old loved ones in an old people's home. But like I thought it was really interesting how there was just this whole group, and we even get the backstory of that group and why they're there in book 6. But I'm not going to say anything about that. But it's awesome, and yeah. So we get these
They're
old
great.
people, and I think it's great because there's so many people. It's like, you know, they have all the orderlies, and we learn about Chris, and oh my god, that was the heartbreaking
the
thing.
last note from Brandon.
Last note from Brandon.
oh yeah, that was
Oh my
awful.
god, that was like heart rendering. Like I cried several times in this series, just throwing it out there. Yeah, I really
Dude,
liked
the fact that the with the ring and how they had to have their daughter use it, it was just, and that's why she. Like,
They didn't
the reason.
have to. They chose
Chose
to.
they chose
Well,
to.
Yes,
They were advised to by their manager.
Oh no, I guess I
Right.
just have to start killing people.
Yep.
It's a
Okay, so,
choice.
give it-
Okay.
give it
Yes.
a
Oh,
leg.
absolutely.
The backstory
but it-
is
Yeah.
The
So-
choice
No, I'm-
choice being, if she doesn't level up, she's
yeah.
fodder
she's dead.
regardless.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's that. So yeah, so Frank meets Carl at the what is that
Desperado
called?
Club.
Desperado Club.
The
Yeah,
Desperado
Club
Club.
Vanquisher came in my mind, but we're not there yet. No, the Desperado Club, and then he's totally shit faced, and he gives Carl a parting gift and goes on. He has on kind of a soliloquy about what happened, and he's like, "This is my gift to you," and it's the Ring of Divine Suffering. And this really comes to play in like the next book, right? Level 5, Bubble World.
Level 6.
6. Yeah.
6, yeah. Really,
level 6, book 5.
Yeah, and
book 5.
Yeah, it's basically like you can mark someone for death with the ring, and then it gives you like +1 from their highest stat.
Yep. Lee just did something with that ring in book 7 that blew my fucking mind. I can't wait for you guys to read that.
Oh yeah, and then there's another one that comes out that somebody else gets that I'm okay, but that's kind of
Yeah. So did you guys catch what may be my favorite joke in this entire series with Imani and Prepotente?
I did not.
Okay, they were only in the book for a little bit. It's Carl tries to sneaky kill the neighborhood, not the neighborhood boss, the
mayor,
the big boss.
Sure.
And
The city boss.
the city boss, and blows a hole through the floor, but they were already there trying to cheese. They had poisoned it, and we're just waiting. It's it's a it's a classic. It's a classic. This boss is too hard for me to beat in Dark Souls, so I'm gonna throw some poison dung clods at it, and let it poison itself to death.
Yep.
You know what I really liked about that one was that it goes on about Imani and Prepotente. You know what's so interesting? I keep hearing it because I've only listened to it mostly, and I thought it was Repotente, and then I see it's Prepotente.
Yep.
That's interesting.
I'm so glad Prepotente is just a goat. I thought that was like the race that he chose, some kind of goat man. No, he's just a goat who's leveled up so much he's gained sentience and is freaking nuts.
No, he ate enhanced pet biscuit, which you are not getting, George. You're not ready for enhanced pet biscuits.
Yeah, but yeah, when
that's hilarious.
When Imani has for 3 books been like the nicest, kindest person, like everybody calm down. We're gonna rescue all the old people. She's never said a mean thing or done anything to anybody. And then Prepotente like says something about her looking old, and all of a sudden it's just, bitch, what? Just absolutely killed me. And then she's right back to being like cool and nice and normal.
Yeah.
But like for 1 second, Detroit came out, and it's just awesome.
It was funny. I love that part too because like it shows you the different like ways you can play. Like if you've ever played D&D and you have classes, I think I'm not gonna knock the book, but like if you've ever played RPG games, like tabletop games, it's like one thing I would say is that you like somebody like Carl or something that's like a tank, or he's sort of a fighter, but he shouldn't have as much magic abilities that he does. But I'm not going to knock the book for that. But when you've got like a group when you're playing, like, okay, you have like a paladin, you have a cleric, you have like a magic user. It's like you get people doing those things and trying to solve problems, which is why I love playing tabletops games like D&D so much. Is like, okay, I only have this small toolbox, so like how am I going to solve this problem? And then we see that, okay, Prepotente is like he's using like deep magical long-term spells to try to kill this thing, and then it's like bam, they just like blow up the thing, and he's like,
no, he fell through the floor, so now we gotta go find I actually had a question about that.
Yep.
At the end of the book, he mentions offhand that Carl ruined their chance to beat a city boss twice. Yeah. And I don't know when the other time was. It had to have been this book. Maybe it was like derailing the trains or something, but
I don't know. I'm trying to think when it would have been, unless he was going to do it in book 2, when the magical soul crystal.
Oh,
that could have been.
They were fighting a boss then. That's
maybe
the one that. But yeah,
It was just an offhand remark. I was like, oh, I don't remember the other time, but it's also hilarious. So
every scene with Prepotente is fucking gold.
I wasn't ready. I just wasn't ready for him to just be a regular goat.
I know, it's so funny. And one of the great characterizations with this is like how like you have two people that have had enhanced pet biscuits. Now you have Donut,
You have three.
and then you you have Donut, Bianca, and Prepotente, and it's so interesting because we're so used to Donut, and we get used to like Prepotente to an extent having these human personalities. But then there's moments when Dinnerman comes back and talks about like, okay, they're just animals, and like in terms of emotional development, they're like children.
Yeah.
And it's such an emotional shift. Like I think we go through some hardcore like magic battles, and then Donut is like freaking out, and she just wants to like Carl to hold her, and she starts like purring and panic shouting and stuff. And then like you get Prepotente and he yelling, and we haven't seen this in this book, and I won't ruin it, but you see him with Miriam Dom a few times, and you're like, okay, this is something. And then Bianca got like the weird end of the Pat Biscuit and turns into something crazy can't even talk.
Who's Bianca? I don't.
Oh, one of the other goats.
Oh, okay, right.
Nathan, have you gotten to the Miriam Dom part in the book you're on?
I don't think I have. I'm only about a third of the way into 5.
Okay.
Miriam Dom is the crawler who has all the goats, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
That was sad. That was like part 1 cry, first cry.
I love the fact that she sits there and she has to force Prepotente to go, I'm sorry, I wanted to murder you.
It was good. It was really good.
He screamed in my goddamn face.
It's sort of like watching videos of fainting goats. That's so funny. Oh my gosh.
Well, it was funny because I was listening to this particular section where Carl and Miriam were into their discussing, and Prepotente's in the background sitting there screaming. And so he's sitting there interlacing the screams in between things that Miriam and Carl were saying. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like trying to do some work here. Like, what the fuck is going on here?
They start getting braver with the audiobooks. They start interspersing like background audio in more and more. And Aldan has listened to the one that's like the full-on sound effects.
Yeah.
I'm very curious to see that. I might give that a shot.
I listened to the first part of book 1. It's pretty good.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, where do you get that?
I want to.
Audible.
I just didn't want to reread book 1 before finishing the series. You know, like I want to keep going.
I think
it's on Soundbooth.
No, it's on his website.
It's also on his website, but yes.
Yeah, you can buy it, but you can listen to the first bit for free. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, speaking of our enhanced Pet Biscuit friends, Donut gets a player killer skull.
Yeah.
That was wild.
Oh, that's right. Who was
it?
Right?
It was 2 randoms. They wanted.
Yeah, it was just a guy who tried to kill her in the Desperado Club.
For the bounty.
Desperado Club.
For the
that's right.
Oh yeah, and we're talking. Donut goes wild. Woohoo! I know. I was so mad. I was Donut. Oh my god.
Donut getting drunk is
so
incredible.
Funny.
Just off of 1 or 2 cherries.
Dirty Shirley's, and she's like,
awesome. Dude, it's dirty. Well, and then she gets a perk where she has bonuses if she's drunk, too. Yes. So it's Dirty Shirley time. I can't do her voice.
Time.
I don't even want to try.
Her class is football hooligan.
Oh yeah. That's her class, so she gets bonuses for being drunk. Oh my god. Oh, memories of going to Scotland. Wow.
Oh, there's so much. So much to talk about in this
book.
But
it's so great. I know, right? It's like you have that in the
series. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Oh, and you get more of the outside world too. With that, they lose their not their sponsor, their agent gets
You lose Zev.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gets internment camped.
Yes.
Yeah.
For re-education.
Yep.
And then Donut asks what a re-education camp is, and he's just like, yeah, or she's like, is that like a day camp or something like that, where she goes on vacation and camps? And he's like, yeah, that's what it is.
Yep. Now, is this the one where
They start censoring information too. Like they start when they go on to Odette's show again. Their new agent keeps like muting them.
Oh yeah, she's horrible.
They've locked out controls so that he can't keep looting trailers.
Yeah.
But there was another line there too. It might not have been 100% his fault. They said some people it appears that some people have been getting like health bonuses from snacks in movie trailers, and so we're not providing any snacks anymore. But also people have been metagaming with the information that they receive on these shows, so they're muting everything. And Odette still sneaks in some zingers to give him more information too, even after that.
Yeah, that is that theme, and it's so interesting because like Carl plays the game so well, like he knows what to listen to.
Now, is this the one with the trailer attack?
No,
that's the next one.
That's the next book.
No, okay. Well, with the assassination attempt.
Yes,
I thought that was book 2. It might have been early book 3.
Yeah. No, book 2 had the assassination.
It was book
attempts.
2.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it was book 2. It was the assassination. Well, that leads into the finale of this book. It was the assassination attempt when he was on. Yes. It wasn't Odette's show. It was the round table.
Show,
and the singer gets killed instead of him because they switched trailers because he needed to take a bath. But that was the attack was done by the. Is it the Maestro? Is that his name?
The Orcs, yep.
The Orcs.
The Maestro and his mom. And his mom.
Gold Empire.
And his mom. And then they were retaliated against and killed, but the Maestro survived. Because you'd have to think I was an idiot to not to be caught in such a trap. Also, R.I.P. Mom.
Yes.
In the same sentence.
Orcs, man. Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys.
And he pays enough money to become a god and fight Carl in an amazing finale. This is how you do this book.
Oh yeah, that happens at the end of this book. Wow.
So many people, some woke Hollywood has been trying to do this. Yeah, they tried to do it. It kind of worked in Avengers Endgame. Until they had the let's line up all of the female superheroes and ruin the moment, and then Rise of Skywalker tried to copy it where they were like, oh, all the people show up out of the goodness of their hearts at the end, and I'm not alone, I'm all the Jedi, and it's just awful and retarded because Hollywood has no soul and no heart and they don't know how to write, and this book just puts it in because it's not even trying, but it's because Carl is so good and the author is so good at just writing true to form, true to nature and true to life, that you get a moment better than both of those movies put together. You know, I mean, you wouldn't want to combine Rise of Skywalker with anything because that's negative points, but you get what I'm saying. They pull off that moment of, hey, out of the goodness of their hearts, and because you've been such a good character, we're going to sacrifice everything and show up for you and probably also die with you.
Yeah, and this is the first book, too, where we get the theme of Carl wanting to save as many people as humanly possible, and it's so great how that happens because, you know, that's how Hecla gets to him. Like, it's a strength and a weakness, and people know.
Well, so it's also because of that he gets sucked into this boss fight by himself.
Yeah, because he's trying to get more people.
The double boss fight.
Yeah.
It's not even. They don't even call it a boss fight. They call it a death bet or something like that. Because it's guaranteed that he's going to die. It's just who gets to kill him first. Place your bets.
I think Donut and Odette talking shit about the fish people, the mud skippers. It's like, when they were setting those odds, did they know the Maestro was driving Grull? Like,
oh my gosh, so good. They gave Carl a 40%. Is that what it was? It was.
Oh,
It was like 4%.
Have they been watching the show? The maestro's an idiot. Oh, I can do Donut's voice.
Okay, Gasplay says some might say the villagers of Devon Ride and Watch Hill showing up before the trial is truly over. Yeah, it's that kind of energy. It is like at the end of that, you're like, fuck yeah, like people coming together and being awesome. Like that's one thing I love about this series is like there is a bunch of messed up shit happening in this series.
But it's better than that. It's better than that.
Well,
But at the end of the day, people are still hopeful, and there's good things like this. Like one thing, and I'm talking about Plant and Senpeios here, is that like they get this stupid souvenir hat, and Donut is like, "Oh my god, a hat!" And this is where she starts her obsession with little.
And they all bow down to her and give her their hats.
And then they find out, okay, this hat, you need this hat to go through the portals and get to where you can get to the safe, the doors and stuff for the next level. And then she just wants to. She's thinking because she, you got to remember she's a child and she doesn't have a lot of emotional maturity. And she's like, I just want it. We're going to get all the hats and we can sell the hats.
I have 5,000 hats, Carl. That's a million credits.
Yeah, and she just wants to get that.
What does she want to buy? I could buy a makeup trailer.
Yeah, I think she wanted.
Oh no, I could buy one of the. It was a shower. She wanted to buy the shower from the trailer, the treadmill shower. I could buy a shower.
I know, and it's so funny. And then he's like, "No, we got to use these to help people." And then it's like, it's interesting. Everyone starts giving him the hat, and then she's just thinking
they all line up and bow and give her the hats back.
She learns the lesson about being compassionate and helping other people, and doing something for others can actually elevate yourself without having to be like egocentric and stuff.
Unironically, that moment is almost as good as You Bow to No Man.
Yes.
It's just as emotional, and it's people lining up to give train hats to a sentient cat.
I know, right? Like it's so funny. Like, souvenir cheap hats, train hats.
I cried. I literally cried.
Yeah, it's like, oh my god, I love this story so much. It's so like
there's just something fantastic about how Denneman writes events in this series where in any other, the way that Hollywood writes, it would be Deus Ex Machina bullshit.
Yeah.
And there are so many things where you could sit there and look at how he's writing, and you're going to be like, oh, that's going to be some Deus Ex Machina bullshit. But then when you get to that point, he pulls it off, and it actually just wraps around perfectly and fits everything right.
It's Sansa showing up to the Battle of the Bastards with a zero setup or preamble.
We were joking about the Mantars before.
Oh, yeah.
As goofy as the fucking Mantars are, they're
terrifying. They're terrifying.
Well, that came back to be a thing. Like
a hugely important
The only
thing.
reason he could be pulled in was because there was a second set of fucking hands that nobody was paying attention to.
That grabbed his leg, pulled him into the boss fight.
And the only reason that happened was because he had the buffs on his feet so that he couldn't feel anything on his feet. We're talking like this.
That's so layered. It's so layered.
I'm gonna beat these to within an inch of their life, so they call a god, and then we're gonna throw the god down into the portal, so it'll fight
it'll fight the city boss. Whatever.
Yeah. Oh no,
it wasn't a Crackaran. It was it was an upgraded Crackaran or something like that, right?
Yeah, the trade gimmick thing, and they're like, and it's so funny. It's like you always know that somehow they're gonna make it through, but you never expect it's truly an iron tangle to get through to the end.
All I know is you can try to be a good person, but the gold standard is you want to be the kind of person who inspires your friends to, when you need help, you're the kind of person who inspires your friends to chop off the arms and legs of a mantar and toss them through a portal so that you can de-summon a god.
That you can summon a god and throw it through a portal.
He's like, what is that? Oh, That's a Mantar torso. So
Oh,
is
yeah,
it,
yeah.
what is a Mantar
one.
torso? Is it just 2 torsos though?
I would assume that they chopped off the bottom person.
And they kept healing him so he wouldn't die,
Centipede?
Yeah, it's the
so that he could
top
just
third
punch
of
it to
the
death
centipede.
and re-summon the god as they kick it into the abyss.
Yeah, I love that. It's so cerebral in that. It's like, man, I can't even keep it straight. Like, I would not think of stuff like that, like playing. It's, man.
Well, and it's him just shouting like, no, like, I'm dead. Don't come help me. You'll die too. He's telling Donut to leave.
Yeah,
and they come
sad.
anyway.
Like, oh my god, yeah. And then it's like, isn't it Ellie and like Amani and
Katya shows up first.
Katya shows up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Pretending to be
or
Carl.
no, she sends him a message, saying, you know, run to this point, don't ask questions. But I think the flying lady shows up first.
yeah.
She's the first one he sees.
I fucking love Ellie.
Oh, she's so
Ellie,
funny.
yeah.
She's great. Like later on, and I
The
love
old
how
lady.
she never takes
she's
off her
even-
like old people home socks, which are awesome and comfortable. Highly recommend.
Well, she's even great. She's the one that kills the other assassin that's after Donut. Like this
Yeah,
99-year-old lady.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Just like breaks a bottle on the table, and it's like, back the fuck up.
Oh my god, some of the stuff she says later on, like, oh my god.
She's
Right.
insane. She's absolutely insane. And also, like, was it just me? Is she like super horny too?
Oh
Yes.
yeah, all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, remember she used to talk to Carl like on this book too. Oh,
I
so
don't
funny.
remember her in book 2 that much, but
Yeah, but she's when she was old before she had picked her fairy whatever class of it. Yeah, it was funny.
She's always telling Carl that he reminds her of her old husband.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's so good.
this book was phenomenal.
It's
Yeah,
so
it
good.
was.
Non-stop action from start to finish too, and the setting was just so clever.
So
Just
good.
a mangle of trains. It was just fun.
What is Nanny
Uh,
on?
And
That's
And-
from Hatchet. Right?
Oh, okay.
I think too, Alan, you'll find that book 4 tops this one, and if from what
It's already
Alex
an
and-
11 out of 10.
I
Unironic.
know.
Well,
It's,
right?
Like,
Well, you're gonna have to go to a scale of 20.
I can't fault book
Yeah.
1. It was a perfect book, and this book is
Yeah.
better. I don't know what to rate it.
Right,
I think
and
in
according
general-
to everybody else that we've been streaming these things with, book 5 is better than 4, and
Do I go into
You know,
12s
so, I
and 13s?
you're gonna
Well,
have to, brother.
Genuinely, everybody that I've talked to that's finished the series has said that 5 is their favorite so far.
Yeah, that's what I
5
think.
is the
Butcher's
Hunters.
Masquerade.
Yeah, Butcher's Masquerade is awesome. Like
So-
I didn't
and-
mind 6, but the magic system that they bring into play and what the level is based on is kind of clunky and it sort of bogs things down. But it's not bad.
It's like an expansion for World of Warcraft.
It's like a card-based game,
Mhm.
like Pokemon or something.
Um,
But there is some
But-
funny
well,
things that
but-
come out of those cards. Oh my god!
we,
And this is the thing about like 4 and 5, like 1 through 3, you get through it and you're just kind of like you're so engrossed in it. 4 and 5 introduce, really for me anyway, stakes in the whole thing.
Oh god,
I
yeah.
mean,
There's
you know that there's some close calls in the first 3 books, but you're always just kind of like, yeah, they'll get through it and it's not going to be a big deal. 4, whole fuck, and then 5, I'm a third of the way into it and I'm like, oh shit. I
Yeah.
mean, this is, oh boy. So, yeah,
I feel like the
I
stakes
gotta
are
get back
already
into
pretty
5.
high for me, so I don't know.
yeah. And I think
I
what
guess you
happened-
can kill off main characters or something, but
No, it's interesting.
Yeah,
'cause I
it
think
just
you
it
start
just seems
getting-
just like on roids. It just
Yeah, you start-
I never felt like Carl was in anything unsurmountable. Of course, because he's the book is Dungeon Crawler Carl.
right.
yeah.
So he's not gonna die,
But-
right?
You sit there and you see things, stuff that Donut does, and you're just like, yeah, Donut's gonna be fine. And there are situations that they all get put in now where you're just like, okay, there's stuff going on here that
Well,
just makes me think here.
Well, we know that the author's clearly willing to like kill off at least Mongo, you know, because he's written it 100 times and then scrapped those chapters.
Dude,
Yeah.
I got to a part in in book 7 where I was like, "Oh no, it's happening!
He's gonna kill Mongo." It's so.
You know, the part that get me
Mongo
is,
like candy.
I'm literally like I'm so excited to start book 4.
yeah.
And I'm glad that we finally got. You chose an entire week. Okay, I finished book 3 in 2 days because I've been doing construction, and I had to read 3 books in between.
I'm sorry.
Okay, look.
I
read
things were happening this week.
I read a
for me,
Terry Pratchett
hopefully.
book. I read The Naked Communist, and I finished all of.
Communist. Wow.
Oh, it's you should absolutely read The Naked Communist. It will answer so many questions. If you're like, why is the world so messed up right now? Read The Naked Communist. It was written almost 100 years ago, and
Is it a nonfiction book?
it's relevant today. It's nonfiction, yes.
Oh, cool. I'll have
It's
to look into it.
I'm related to the author who's now dead. He's old. Who's my great uncle twice removed or something.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Very good book. I finished all of Lord of Chaos, and I'm like, I can't start book 4 yet. I got to do the stream.
I know. I'm sorry. Well, yeah. I'll fill you in maybe later about what's been going on, but hopefully good things. But yeah, I can't wait to like keep doing more streams with you guys about this, and I want to go back and listen to it again, actually. And I know like Will's trying to get me to listen to Way of Kings, the like Caladan edit, and
She got farther than she ever had. She got to
can't do
chapter
it.
14 before she
we're at
choked the
like
ropes.
Dalinar and all the Alinar like people, families talking boring. It's so boring. Like, can this just sounds like an Elaine chapter? Like, let's get off with it. And then I'm like, and then this spring come out.
I
and
like
I'm like,
the Elaine chapters. Okay,
I like some of them, but
Look,
like, oh my god.
you guys complain about the Wheel of Time so much. I don't even think you like the book.
Time.
Half
It's
of
so
the
good.
White Cloaks in my chat complain about the Wheel of Time so much. I don't know why they even defend the books against the TV show, because it sounds like they hate the books.
It's just Elaine. She's annoying.
No, they complain about everybody. No, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? Oh, here's
I'm
the
just
court
joking.
of Prince George. He's here.
No,
He wants
well,
a dance
so
biscuit.
But Elaine is my queen, so
Oh god. Join the Dane like Elaine's dance. No, who does that? Alban?
Aldan's pretty. I think Aldan is pro Egwene.
No, yeah.
yeah, he goes hard on Egwene. Yeah.
Egwene, I can't stand. Elaine is all right when she starts,
She has
and she's
moments.
insufferable.
By the end, like
by
I like
the end.
early Elaine. Like,
I thought all of that stuff was fun. I thought her trying to. I don't know, man.
Let me
I liked the political aspect of her trying to win her throne. I thought that was fun. Okay, sue me. I like redheads. Sorry.
I'm
Why
married to one
Okay,
dude.
I like Avienda too. Sue me,
I like
baby.
Elaine, why should you be the queen? Jesus said so. Redheaded Jesus said.
Because she banged Rand. Okay, that's reason enough.
So
Sorry.
Steve texted me earlier today, and he's like, "I'm listening to Towers of Midnight at work
Hello,
when I go on my
Carly.
rounds."
Nice to see
And he
you.
says,
Coming.
and he says, "Is Elaine an idiot, or does she have brain damage? Did she forget Randy has conquered Carrion and has all but given it to her? Why is she acting like she's taking it on her own?"
Look,
I'm like, "Because she's an entitled bitch."
Because Rand is an experienced hog. Let's just admit it, okay? How is Elaine gonna level up if he's doing everything for her?
I like my women like I like my coffee. Dumb. Okay.
Oh my god! So now that we're not talking about Dungeon Crawler, or like,
Oh, we skipped over Katya too fast because we got distracted by the politics. But like the fact that she turns into like a spear and attaches herself to the front of a train, and just plows through mobs and levels up like 30 levels because of it is so freaking cool. And then because she doesn't know her strength, one shots the worst character in the books. I just can't wait.
Awesome. I love
which by the way,
so good.
That one shot of Hecla was so awesome, just because it's like she didn't realize like it was just an accident where she misfired basically, and then just boom. It's like I'm like, oh fuck yeah!
Did you guys catch the reason that she was able to get the crossbow? Because when they closed the doors, Hecla's body fell on the other side, and they weren't able to loot it. Mm. The reason that she got the crossbow is because of the gauntlet that she gives Carl, that has like a 5% chance to immediately loot.
Oh,
yeah,
that's awesome.
And Dinnaman doesn't even he mentions that and doesn't even say, he doesn't even bring up how genius that moment was. He doesn't even tell you, but I caught it. I was like, wait, that's how she got the freaking crossbow.
That's even there's actually another layer to that which I didn't appreciate. Is literally like the chapter before, Carl says something along the lines of, I have this piece of gear and it gives me a 4% chance to do whatever. Mm-hmm. And he makes the comment, in my experience, anything under 10% just means whenever the AI thinks it's funny.
Yes.
Or like, thinks it would be cool. Like, so
because that actually I think is at the beginning.
Because she didn't have any of other Hecla's stuff. She only got the crossbow.
Yeah, that was it. That's so cool. And both of those are very important later on. Oh my gosh, that's so great. Like, I hope you guys like my illustration of Katya on the thumbnail. I tried to find like and Will got on my case because apparently like trans to the like train, that's a guy train, but I thought there were like eyelashes and not wrinkles, so I'm sorry for that, but I tried to make it like she has like a purple mohawk, so it's smoke. And I know she's
transed the trainee.
Yeah, she transed Henry. Henry is now Henrietta.
I'm sorry, Thomas the Train Engine was past my time, babe. I'm not up on these things.
Wow.
Sorry, Henry the Train, but I thought it was so cool, and the way she makes like a cow catcher, and she's there, and she's just it goes with the things on the putting things in your inventory thing, and she just starts putting the bodies.
Oh, the blood! I forgot about the blood. Oh my gosh! They clean up the whole trailer, and then she just explodes.
And then it's like all of that crap.
And wasn't that the second that they got Mordecai back? He's like, oh hey guys.
The angry cleaner bot.
I forgot about the blood.
I did not realize that the cleaner bot is such a fan favorite. They were
serious?
Yeah. So, Dinnaman was talking about who was going to do the book recap at the beginning of the book of book 7 for book 6. And apparently the cleaner bot got the second most votes.
He's like, oh man, I wanted to write the cleaner bot like so much. Like there's a backstory behind this thing and it's not what you think. And I'm like, tell me more.
That's so awesome.
Nathan, have you gotten to Quasar yet?
Oh god, Quasar's great.
I believe so. Describe Quasar, because my memory is absolutely horrible.
Carl's lawyer.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Dude. He's like,
but back to the Katya
we got this one.
Oh my gosh. We get I love the Katya fight.
Katya's great.
There's all the politics going on. So right, you think Hecla is the mastermind of this, and then you get with her like Lieutenant Ava, and she's like evil. She's like a Naga person. I keep forgetting what these things are.
Mm-hmm.
She's a snake person, and then you start when she starts fighting where she kills Hecla, you realize there's some freaking blood between her and Ava, and I love the way that he just lays out their kind of animosity and their backstory, and I'm like, that is such a great example of like giving backstory where you're not doing massive flashbacks. It's just sort of integrated over 4 books.
Yeah.
So when you get to book like 6, it's like there is already like huge groundwork laid for this, and they're like, we got to get her. Oh wait, that's the end of book 5. Excuse me.
And her taunting Katya. I love that she was the target too. You know, she's gonna charge her, and then didn't. And and her upgraded charge is so good too. But like, what a horrible woman.
Yes.
She is
like,
so
even.
evil.
But her.
Oh my God.
Have you gone back and like read her insults? Like the things she's like, "This is why I can't stand you. It's because this, and you're like,
oh, she says
that's it. Like but like the things that she couldn't stand about her best friend were like very manageable things. You're like, you're just a horrible person.
You never can make a decision on where we're gonna have dinner when we go out on Saturday. You die.
You're like,
this is why you're
and that's why I left you to die on level 3. What?
Oh my God!
Like,
Boy, it's
that's why your fiance left you for one of his students. You're like, wow.
Right.
I hope she gets just tortured and killed in future books.
She was a cheerleader in a former life.
Masquerade.
Well, I'm hoping that they masquerade her being butchered. So,
there's another level to that I think is fascinating. And I love when authors do this. I love when authors contrast the good guys and the bad guys.
Yeah.
Make the bad guys' weaknesses relative to the good guys be the reason that they fail and die. Because Hekla's entire plan relies on this healer not pissing herself when crazy man Carl turns and starts yelling at her.
Yeah.
And this healer, because she's in this party, has had no experience, has no confidence, hasn't done anything. And she's just like, okay, just stand here and like pretend that you're about to heal them. And then Carl turns and screams at her and she immediately folds.
She runs away.
Yeah, it's interesting to do that.
But the same note, Frank Q, right? He thinks, oh, my ultimate vengeance is I'm going to give Carl the ring of ultimate suffering, and it's going to lead him down a path where he has to kill people, and he's going to die because of it. But Carl's a good person.
Yep.
And so, like, it doesn't
like
affect him. He's like, okay, so I get a 3% boost on all my stats. Great. I'm never going to use it to kill anybody. But we now know that there's more problems to the ring.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, going back to like what Will was saying about the like characters and stuff. It's like, man, the like it's so interesting because Hekla's like the leader, and it's like she's the psychologist and the therapist.
Oh, the fact that she's a therapist too, like
that's her like
screw you. I'm sorry,
just,
but
like psychologically screwing with everyone.
I
actually
freaking hate therapists. Okay,
me too. There's a level of based, and it doesn't even necessarily like require political baseness. There's a certain level of baseness that comes with hating therapy and therapists and what it's become.
It's along the lines of just like regular old common sense now has become based, and I think that's what it. I think that's what you're getting.
I don't know about you guys, but I absolutely love every other ad on my YouTube feed being something from therapy.com. So that you can have a relationship with some person that you'll never fucking meet in your life.
I prefer the Kamala Harris.
How about getting
ads,
a best
that's
friend?
Just me.
That's just funny.
It's another one of those things. I promise.
Not tomorrow, not next week, but today. Yes. I need your money.
Unburdened by what has
because I sent all of it to Ukraine.
It's one of those things. I promise I'm going to stop comparing and contrasting these books.
No, you can't.
But watching Stormlight Archives turn Kaladin into a therapist, while this book is saying therapists are the ultimate evil, you should splatter them against the wall when you get an opportunity. I'm just like,
So good. It's wonderful.
It's just so much more than that, though. It's like the arrogance that she has to think that she understands everyone's way of thinking, and she can manipulate everyone. And then it's sad to see. What's interesting from the fallout of this fight is how the daughters go about in the game, and they're just
the only reason that she's accumulated so many people is because it buffs her crossbow.
Yep.
That's it. She doesn't care about any of them. It makes her crossbow stronger.
Yeah.
Screw Hecla, man.
It's like
that is when I was listening to this with you a second time, I think you can probably confirm this was when I was the most excited.
Yeah, you're
like, oh, you know.
I didn't catch that about the crossbow buffs. I didn't really do that, but
it's like it gets a buff for every female in your party.
Oh wow!
It increases by like 0.1% or something. The rate of fire.
Yeah,
or something like that.
I was still stuck on like the healer.
It's a big
and her
buff.
Being there. Like that was like another. It's like, and then you find out like when we start getting into the Lucy and Mar story and how there's not supposed to be children, and then it's like. Then there's this lady and her daughter, and she's just trying to protect the daughter, and she's super freaked out, and just all of the daughters and how that story goes. And then it's interesting because like Katya wants to sort of bring them back, and I don't want to get to because I think that's the next book, but it's a good story. And then I think she kind of takes it from Carl and his caring about other people to try to be like, this is something I need to take responsibility for.
Well, floor 5, they've already set up is going to be like separate journeys, right? Like hardly any interaction with other players.
Yes, which is another one of the. Sorry, go ahead, Nathan.
Oh no, yeah, they separate everything and everybody.
That's Bubble World next, right?
Yeah,
yep.
Yeah.
It's what?
Oh, it's like it's Bubble World. That's kind of like what they call the level.
I don't know. They got sorted into
wild.
the air tribe. So.
The air tribe.
Yep.
It's gonna be
interesting. It has some funny things.
Carl gets even more explosives.
Yes, he does.
It's awesome. It is so
Dude,
awesome.
Can't wait. I can't wait.
So his relationship with that book is awesome.
Oh, it's so awesome. Yeah, the story.
It is. I mean, the book in itself is its own character just because you're sitting there reading all the stuff that everybody else wrote, and that he's just getting all these ideas, but he's also putting them back into it, and it is a perfect give and take for his character, and I absolutely love what he does with this stuff.
I'm convinced that the person who gets it after Carl is going to be so pissed. He's going to be like, did this motherfucker write down every single thought he ever had? Like, I love that all. Like, there's some very good ideas here. This is unnecessary.
This is just stream of consciousness stuff here. It's not even organized.
Everybody else wrote like 8 pages, and this motherfucker's on like. This is fucking Wind and Truth. There's 1,300 pages here.
Dude, he's gonna have to. It's gonna have to be like an infomercial where it's like an Encyclopedia Britannica. You have to order with no cash on delivery.
If you're assuming that anyone's gonna need to use this book again. Like, I love Carl because this is where we start getting his wrestling promo endings.
Does he cut
this one didn't have a wrestling promo ending. This one was
I love his like speeches at the end. They're great.
This was the audiobook.
It was the audiobook plug. Oh
my goodness, that was so meta. It was so awesome.
So funny. I can.
He fucking
because I'm a pretentious writer. I can make the audiobook reader say ridiculous things like this and this and this.
That is so funny. All this stuff at the end is really funny. Like when Donut has a song in book 5, and like it goes on. There's another song. Oh, it's so good. Book
2 was like an infomercial for some kind of toy or something.
Yeah,
it was like a plushy version of Donut.
Oh yeah, and then the Earth. They go do this Earth show. I think this is interesting, like meta commentary too. Carl is very concerned about how they're portraying Earth, and it is kind of funny because it's like they describe the kind of clips that they show on the shows, and then it's like you're thinking, you know what, this is the crap that we see on the news every night, and he's like, this is the worst thing of Earth, and we're really not like this, and Yeah,
No,
so
yeah,
then
you get a snippet of that
tried
because it's connected to the audiobook thing. They have some outtakes of him reading for that show, and it was
documentary. It's like, I'm not gonna say
so
this.
yeah, he
It was
did
about
he did
beauty
one on video
pageants.
games.
in video games.
He said they gave him the script for the documentary on beauty pageants. He's like, I'm not reading this bullshit.
There's another incredible joke in there that Miriam Dumb and Prepotente had no issues reading about American hip hop.
That's a really good joke.
I mean, that was in the book.
You know they had to say the N-word, right? Like,
Oh, please tell me that there is a cut somewhere of Prepotente dropping N bombs.
yeah.
Oh, that would be hilarious.
Anyway,
with goat screams in the middle of it.
I can't stay for that much longer. I got to go finish building the house so that Monday
we're at the end
Monday
of this.
morning at 4:00 in the morning I can take my wife to the hospital and listen to Dungeon Crawler Book 4 as I'm bringing her ice chips. So
I'll tell you what, man. I think we'll give you permission if you're still in the hospital in like
Listen.
16 hours. Go ahead and roll right on to 5.
dude, I will stream from the hospital. Okay. We can do a book club from the hospital. I'm okay with that.
All right.
He's gonna be,
Like
he's gonna be changing
live from the
diapers.
nursery.
We have Dr. Patel Martin here.
I
Doctor,
just finished book 4 and I gotta talk about it.
I've been playing it over the speaker in the room. What did you think about your 20 minutes in and out?
In the background, you're gonna see his baby get popped up and spanked as it
His
comes out
wife's
of the
gonna be
womb.
like, God damn.
Has your wife started listening to this?
She wouldn't like him.
She wouldn't like him? Okay.
You
No.
not a nerd?
She's kind of nerdy, and she also judges me for being too nerdy. So like I can soft like I got her to read Wheel of Time, and she's read a lot of Brandon Sanderson. But if she reads too much fantasy, she's like she gets fantasied out. But she's an English mate. She's a little pretentious. Okay, she reads like Crime and Punishment and crap like that. You know.
I was gonna say, tell her it's a modern remake of Dante's Inferno. See what you have to say.
Yeah, I don't think she'd like it. It's just not her cup of tea.
That's fair.
With train fires that are stoked by fire babies being born.
Franny and the Fire Franny.
New achievement.
Half the time when I'm filming like my songs and parodies and sketches, she'll like walk in on me filming and just be really confused. I'm like, I don't think you should publish that video. Like, you're not my target audience, babe. I love you, but I know you don't get the joke. It's okay.
Okay, so are you just taking the week off, or do you have anything published or upcoming or anything?
I haven't made any videos in 2 weeks. I've just been doing a bunch of live streams.
That's awesome.
But yeah, no, I will stream tomorrow night, my regular Best Gen show, where we talk about TV shows.
What are you talking about?
The Penguin.
Is that still good?
Yeah. I haven't watched this week's episode because I've been so busy, but I need to watch it. I'm enjoying it a lot. And
Nadia is watching it too.
And we've talked about it. They dropped the whole thing at once. But if you haven't watched The Devil's Hour on Amazon, watch it. It is phenomenal. They just dropped season 2, and it did not disappoint. There was like a 3-year gap between 1 and 2. It got renewed immediately and then delayed by like both strikes.
Okay.
But there's going to be a season 3 too. It's really short too. There's season 1 is 6 episodes. Season 2 is 5 episodes. They're 50 minutes long each. It's one of the most unique, like, spooky, suspenseful, mind twisting, what's going on shows, you know. And it's not an empty mystery box. The box is full, and it's a common trope that's twisted on its head, and the answer is not what you normally get, and it's really, really clever.
Huh. The Devil's Hour?
Yes, it's Peter Capaldi.
Oh.
And he's a spooky guy, and it's wonderful. I don't want to say anything else. It's honestly, if you just go in blind, but it's a little spooky. It's perfect for Halloween's. It's not gory. It's not spooky. It's more like, what in the crap is going on? And the answers are just satisfaction after like it just gets better and better.
Cool.
All right.
Not a huge commitment. Watch it.
Okay.
Cool. Nathan, are you doing anything coming up?
Nope.
Nope, we're just hanging out Dungeon Crawler.
I'm continuing on my normal routine of calling up Steve on Wednesday, say, hey, are we streaming tonight? And then we do.
Very fair.
Yeah, and I think, babe, you guys we're gonna keep filming Whitecloaks rewatches, and I think you guys are you're plugging forward on Wind and Truth on Tuesday nights. I think so.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think
depends on
Steve's schedule, but I think we're gonna do it next.
Yeah, Steve, we missed you. Wherever you work.
We need to figure out whose channel we're doing book 4 on.
We'll let you know.
Yeah, it'll be someone's
not
channel.
mine.
Someone's.
And I'm also doing the Fall of Hyperion book club on November 11th.
Cool.
Pips is on that. Is Pips on that?
I think he's going to be deployed.
He's
so
deployed,
he might be.
Okay.
He missed the first one. He read the book and loved it, but he couldn't make the first stream. So.
Oh, what kind of book is that?
It's a sci-fi, and it's really, really.
I feel like it's familiar. Like I've heard it before.
Hyperion is the first book. Fall of Hyperion is the second book. But you should read both. There's 4 books.
Who's the author?
Okay. Awesome. Well,
Dan Simmons.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like it's very familiar. I think I've heard it before. I'll get the names of those before we go. But yeah,
book 1 was a masterpiece. 10 out of 10. Hyperion.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah. Well, for all 4 people that are out in the audience, thank you guys for watching. I know like you guys haven't seen me for a while, but hopefully we'll be on more, and I'm going to make some videos. It's like just taken me a while to get over my fibromyalgia problems, and luckily my health is on the upswing. So hopefully we'll see more soon. And thanks the guys for coming, like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I am going to give us our put us away and show our awesome outro, which is super low effort. And yeah, we've seen it before, but here we go.
What had Mordecai said? Stay away from girls with horns on their heads. Carl, I think I'm being charmed by an NPC with horns. What do I do? Mordecai, it's not a real charm spell because if it was, you wouldn't be asking me about it. Is it happening to Donut too? Donut.
He has an erection, Mordecai. It's very inappropriate. Mongo is appalled.
New achievement! War criminal! You have killed more than 20 non-combatants in a single attack! Question: what's the only thing standing between an innocent child and a happy, fulfilling life? Answer: you! The answer is you! Reward: you've received a gold assholes box.
Really, Carl?
Donut said, looking the Harley-Davidson up and down with distaste.
I didn't realize you'd actually get that thing to work. Are you planning on growing a mullet as well? Are there any waffle houses between here and there? Maybe we can stop and get into a brawl, but only after you bounce a few child support payment checks first.
You know, most bikers were just normal people with normal lives. I never rode a motorcycle, and my dad was a dick, but that doesn't mean all bikers are assholes. You shouldn't stereotype people.
I watched Sons of Anarchy, Carl.
It was a TV show, and I watched it too. There are plenty of normal motorcycle riders.
We obviously were watching 2 very different shows.
You liked the Goblin Copper Chopper. I don't understand what the difference is.
The Copper Chopper was a custom-made, handcrafted vehicle built especially for us by Rory and Lorelei, and it had a sidecar attachment with a personalized, tailor-made seat. This is a metallic penis extension that comes with a free probation officer and a traumatic brain injury.
You tried to get me to pick this exact motorcycle when it was one of the choices on the prize carousel.
That's quite obviously a lie, Carl. I have no recollection of that whatsoever. I tried to get you to pick the chaps. I think it's sexy,
Samantha said.
New achievement! Reward: